Hey, it's Chris, Liege of Games. Let's do this. So, this is another small week. All of the weeks in December are going to be very small, barring some big explosion of board gaming breadth from nowhere, essentially. All of these weeks are essentially going to have like one hand's worth of games, which is going to make this video relatively rather short, so we'll have plenty of time to talk about the over-under, which also honestly makes the over-under really, really hard. Like, really, really racking my brain because there's not a whole lot to go off of. So we'll just kind of go with it from that side of things. You like the thumbnail from yesterday? Could not resist it. Anyway, I think I'll like keep that one and start using it for other things on the side there. Anyway, if you missed it, you missed it. That's all. That's all I got. Let's just go right into it. And the first one is going to sound familiar. So let's just go. First, there was Gloom of Kilforth from Hall or Nothing Productions, Tristan Hall. Then we dove into the Shadows of Kilforth. Sort of a different thematic setting, more elements, more characters, making it a little bit more challenging in this 1 to 4 player, high fantasy-esque, card-driven, location-driven, keyword-driven game. Now, we have the third in the standalone trilogy of Call of Kilforth. And the thing is, there's not really a lot known about it. I mean, the forums have said, well, there's going to be differences, and there's going to be more mechanics, and there's going to be more stuff, but there's not really a lot of knowledge about what that stuff actually is. And it was supposed to be last week, which is why I'm talking about it again this week. And we'll kind of see, because it is officially going to be on the 14th at like, I think noon. I forget which time zone though, so don't quote me on that. But again, the over-under was actually one of the over-unders on this one, so we'll just probably carry that one over as sort of a push from last week. We'll do the same bet, and it makes my life a little bit easier. This is a relatively well-regarded game. The art is fantastic, and you can just see a little bit of a glimpse here, but this is the situation where you've got this gloom, and I think you flip the cards over. If the gloom captures it, the dark side captures it, essentially, and you're going around from location to location, rolling dice, collecting keywords, collecting items, collecting equipment, collecting cards that contain all of those things, and you get just a grandiose, card-driven, RPG-esque adventure with dice and keywords. And the question is just whether or not that's right for you. And you know, they say Shadows is a step up. The thematic representation is a little bit different, more of an Asian one, more of an Asian influence apparently in Shadows, more of just your high fantasy, regular-esque in terms of the regular gloom. And Call, again, we don't really have a good idea of what that's going to be. It looks beautiful. It's probably going to raise easily 6 digits, but is it right or not for you? Because those elements that I described are definitely different, but it's a premium product at a premium price. So it's not going to be $40, even though it's a card game, even though it has a lot of those elements of things. This is probably going to run you closer to $80 is my guess. Now, the other positive thing, I believe on the previous, I think 3 Gloom or 3 Kilforth campaigns that they've run, because they did Gloom, they did a reprint, and then they did Shadows, I believe, is there will be additional items, there will be additional bling, deluxeifications if you want it, but I think they have also offered previous catalog collections, catalog items, if you want to pick up the other stuff as well, because this one really isn't available from wide distribution standpoint. So we'll see when it launches on the 14th. Now, there's another game out there, Vampire Hunters, Order of the Vampire Hunters by Darkgate Games. They have announced a prequel sequel to that game entitled Ancient Blood, The Order of the Vampires. And so this is what your artwork looks like. Now, this one, though, is actually going to be over here on Gamefound. And again, launching on the 14th. And there's a little bit of a preview page. Not really a whole lot. But it is more of, again, your dark fantasy vampire, obviously, dungeon crawl. So you can see that already with almost all of the Gamefound pages. If you're going to follow early, you're going to get additional little freebie there. And it looks like also there's going to be early bird pledges within the first 48 hours. So, and that looks like this little set of miniatures with cards and game paths. But that's it in terms of all we know there. Now it talks a little bit more about what is over here on the most recent update of the Kickstarter page. Ancient Blood, and they talk about it. Game mechanics inspired by the previous game, but a new game. Not compatible. So if you have one of the older ones, that it's not going to work with. So you just need to know story driven, game developing, campaign style, exploration, crafting, resource management, leveling up. Now, I don't know anything about the original Vampire Hunters, so the question I bring to all of the dungeon crawl-esque campaign-ish games, what are you doing that's unique, that sets you apart from the other ones? This is an elder vampire, apparently. Now, if you go over the Order of the Vampire Hunters page to get a little bit better sense of what it does and what it is, again, miniature-based, classic lore stories of vampires, stakes, crows, stakes, crossbows, holy water. You're going to be dragging vampires out of their dens, attacking, teaming up, combinations. Sundown is going to have an effect in this game, and they have optional game modes. Again, full campaign, semi-co-op, and even you can play on as a vampire if you get turned. Now, a couple of the reviews out there are sort of mixed. They use exploding dice. You can obviously see the amount of tokens. There's obviously going to be some sort of terrain there. But this is all from the old mechanisms from the previous game. So again, what is going to be new, and can you improve on some of the critiques? Because I also saw a couple people that were like, it was kind of okay, especially the components. And akin to a slightly newer take on the zombie side thing, so with a few fresher mechanics. So compare it to that, not only in mechanics, but also price point. And again, if you're going to have something like this, you're going to have a rule book on day one for me. And the question is just how much is the price point going to be? Because this one also apparently is not widely available either from the retail side of things. So it'll be an interesting look. It'll be interesting to see, because Gamefound, I think, lately has not really had the best eyes on in terms of just getting sheer eyes on them. The projects are just kind of falling in the cracks right now. There's not a good way to promote it from that side of things yet. It just doesn't get the sheer number of eyeballs that Kickstarter does just from sheer name alone. I mean, even junkies like myself sometimes forget about Gamefound a little bit when I'm doing, just whatever on a routine basis. I just say that as someone who is interested but has trouble remembering, especially as Gamefound sort of goes into the end of its sort of first year run and starts to get into post year one and seeing what else it can get project wise to bring more eyes on a consistent basis. So this will be an interesting test from that side of things. And that again is also launching on the 14th. Now launching on the 16th, we have Encyclopedia. What do we know about this game? You are essentially Darwin's predecessor. So pre-Darwin, and you are doing a history of natural history, taking into account, making an encyclopedia of it. And interestingly enough, this game is going to be a dice-based worker placement from Holy Grail Games, playing 1 to 4 people. Again, looks beautiful. Dice worker placement always has me intrigued, as much as I really am not a worker placement person at all. It gives me the vibe of just a dice version of Darwin's Journey, essentially, right? Which we're coming on almost a year ago that it crowdfunded itself. This is by the same duo that did Domination's Road to Civilization and the other card-driven game Museum. Now, interestingly enough, and the biggest concern, obviously, with a game like this is you're using dice, right? And they say on the Board Game Geek description already, if you're rolling dice, there are multitudes of ways to mitigate. You are going to be able to mitigate not only the number, but you are going to be able to mitigate the color, and you are going to have the ability to use other players' dice while providing them a bonus, of course. But interesting. I could see myself definitely checking this one out. Again, as much as I'm not really a huge worker placement, but dice are always interesting to me. They don't like me, but I always like them. So it's going to be kind of a test of the price point. Again, with this level of artwork and this many dice, this are, apparently the solo mode card. So again, for you solo junkies out there, this is going to be a good look as well. But what is the price point going to be? As a deluxe, I'm guessing, Euro worker placement game, you're going to be looking, maybe I guess the price point as one of the over-unders, if it's not already on Board Game Geek or Leak somewhere, is it going to be over or under $90 that would be my main guess right now in terms of price point before deluxeification additional add-ons, essentially. Again, it's going to be interesting because we haven't seen a lot like this. Their dice worker placement games are not common. They're few and far between, and they tend to stand out. But again, the comments always, just like with the dungeon crawls, is what does your dice worker placement do that the other half dozen well-known worker placement dice games out there do already? There you go, launching on the 16th. So, now that we've got just that brief synopsis of games out of the way, let's go to last week's over-under. The first one, the over-under, let's see, what was it? £1.175 million. Blew it out of the water. Now, wouldn't it have been impressive if I had said £1.25 million? That would have been impressive. But still, I mean, it exceeded, especially the last 48-hour rush that I was expecting. I did not back it. Again, sort of like with Harakiri right now. Am I going to play it over other things? I think it looks really intriguing. I just not going to play it. I don't have the time commitment to be able to play something this expansive right now. I just don't. I think it's going to be a solid game. I know a lot of people are sort of poo-pooing Modiphius and that side of things and critiquing that, but I think it's going to be solid. The rule book is solid. There's not a whole lot of wonderment from that side of things. It's already fully fleshed out. So if you really want, it looks like you can late pledge as well. So there you go. Number one. Number two, MINDBUG, over under 300,000. Nailed it again. Over. I went overs on everything this week, by the way, except for the last one. But I mean, this has 20 hours to go, and this is 28,000 over my pledge guess. So, boom, 2 for 2 this week. Let's go 3 for 3 if we can. So now we have Palaces of Carrara. Carrara? I'll mess it up either way. So it is currently at 56,457 euros, and I said $65,000 US. What does that turn out to be? You guys are going to love this. I can't make this stuff up, folks. Right now, exchange rate puts it at $63,900. So less than, I'm filming this the night before. So like 12 hours from now, is it going to make $1,100 more dollars to make me correct or not? So that's boom, baby. Liege Stradamus strikes again. Now fourth up, because the Call of Kilforth one is a push because it didn't launch. We have Heroes of the Shire, and I said 110,000 US dollars, and it raised 88,902 pounds. What does that come out as? That comes out as 117,900. Boom. Potentially 4 for 4. Yes. Okay. Smoking. Liege is on fire this week, baby. So, what do we got cooking for this coming week? Well, for starters, let's just keep the one for Call of Kilforth. I said over under 100k pounds by the time it reaches this video launch next week. So from Tuesday to Saturday. That's number one. Let's do number two. Let's make a return to Harakiri. Let's say Harakiri. Over or under? Let's go for Harakiri at 607,000 right now. 3.5 days left. Let's say it gets a decent push at the end. Let's say 800,000. Over or under 800,000 total. We'll do that as the next one. Now let's do the next one. So we have Kilforth. We have Harakiri. Then we'll make this the third one. Let's say, this is going to be a little bit interesting. Borderlands. Almost $1.1 million right now, right? Weather Machine. Weather Machine will be almost ending an hour or 3 hours after this video premieres next week. At the time of Weather Machine ending, will Weather Machine have more money raised than Borderlands? What do you think? Who's right on that one? No, I know it's not an over-under. I can't make this one into over-under. But which one is going to have more? Borderlands with 5 days to go still, or Weather Machine at the very end at 10 o'clock next Saturday? 7 days and 3 hours from when this premieres. What do you think? Boom. Number 3. Number 4, Pathfinder Arena. This one's going to be different. 132,900 right now. 69 hours to go at the time of me filming this. Does this end Over or under $130,000. $130,000. What do you think? Over or under? Now, this is different because it's been losing money. So, is it going to continue to lose? Are people going to keep it at the end? What do you think? There you go. Number 4. Number 5. We'll go to Voyages here. Voyages has 42 hours left at the time of me filming this. Will Voyages break, let's say, $62,000? $62,000. Does Voyages break $62,000 over or under as the single sheet printed home game, which now has like 3 sheets actually included? So there you go. A little bit easier to choose from this week. It was a little bit easier when I was doing it, so that's kind of nice actually. Okay, back to the screen. There you go. That is it right now. If you didn't check it out already, this past week, review, CMON listing, and what did I get in November? Because I actually did that one on time, although I missed a game that I actually backed because it was a Gamefound game. Kind of narrows it down though if you're playing along at home. So what else we got? TV time. Well, I did it. I binged all of Demon Slayer this week. The anime. Binged it all. Season 1, the Mugen Train arc, if you're not familiar, or if you are familiar, and the first episode of Season 2. So, anime, kid, sort of feudal, modern-day Japan-ish, kind of mished together, slays demons. It's entertaining. It's good. It's one of the best animes I've seen in a couple years. Reminds me, I gotta finish Attack on Titan. I haven't caught up with the first half of the last season, season 4, I think. So I gotta finish that at some point. So that's a whole nother thing. I haven't really been watching a whole lot else. There isn't really a whole lot else streaming-wise that's really good. Like, after I finish this tonight, I don't have a clue what I'm gonna watch. The only other thing I've even been halfway remotely watching is The Magicians, the sci-fi show that's actually super, super good. But it's also, like, dark, and it's also kind of weird dark. Like dark comedy as well, and you just gotta kind of be in the right mood for a show like that. So it kind of phases in and out for me from that side of things. So I can see myself doing it either way, but that's about it. We played Lizard Wizard the other weekend, and I pulled out. I got it sitting here. Got Cuphead upside down, of course. Cuphead. So I'll probably be having reviews for both of those coming out in the next like week or two. Once I like sit down and finally do it and get like the overhead view for the camera done and that sort of thing, because I want a little bit of that shot to be in the videos. Apart from that, I don't really have a whole lot else on the horizon. I've got like 1 or 2 games I think for review coming up, like from a Kickstarter standpoint, but not a whole lot. Again, there's like this gap in December and January, but like I said before last week, January, like the second week of January, January 11th, that Tuesday week is already got like 10 games on it launching that I think I know of. So it's going to pick up in January, like full steam, 0 to 60 once the new year hits and you're past that first week in January. So if you're buckling down now, it's probably not a bad thing. Apparently, we're also getting, I can't shout this one as my kids are sleeping across the way. If anyone has any underrated or highly, highly thought of Nintendo Switch games, we got them a Nintendo Switch for Christmas. And I'm looking at the number 1 game that I'm going to be getting is probably Super Mario World 3D with Bowser's Fury. And then I was also, I mean, my kids are like 6.5 and about to be 8. And so the other one I was looking at was Animal Crossing New Horizons. Maybe like Super Smash Brothers, but probably not. Same thing with Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I mean, that's sort of there too. You know, I kind of want to get like Fire Emblem, 3 Houses for me, but I'm probably not going to do that now. I can't really justify that one to my wife as, oh yeah, honey, this one for them. And the only other thing I was really looking at was like Super Mario Odyssey or like Super Mario or Paper Mario Origami King. But I think if I'm going to get Super Mario World 3D, I don't really necessarily want another Mario one. So I'm not really sure. If anyone else has any like random thoughts on that side of things, I looked at like all the top 25 and 30 lists on the Google, you know, and all like PC Gamer and IGN and that sort of thing, but nothing else really striking my fancy, because I also am not sure they would really dig the other one that comes popping up all the time, like Luigi's Mansion. Like, I don't know. And the rabbits thing doesn't really do much for me either. So if anyone else has any other recommendations out there, let me know in the comment section. Be open to that. But yeah, I think that's about it. Gonna play something light tomorrow night, or the night that this is filming. Brother-in-law's coming over, and we're just gonna, whatever I feel like. It's gonna be something on the I just like playing it game list right now, I think. So, which we'll do teaser right there. One of the videos coming out next week will be games that are never going to leave my collection. 5 games that are never going to leave my collection. So if you're interested in, like, I talk about all these other things that, like, interest here, kind of interest here, kind of interest here. Like, these are games when I'm reviewer hat off, tossed in the corner, stomping on the ground, collecting dust. The games that I play on a night where I just want to play something that really catches my interest and is never going to leave my collection whatsoever. So if you're interested in, like, what I like from that side of things, in case, like, you're not clear already on a few of them, I'm going to do that, because that's going to be, like, an ongoing series, because it's not one of those where I can, like, definitively say each and every time, like, 10 games or 20 games, but it's going to be ongoing from that side of things. And I thought 5 was a reasonable amount. So there's that. I should probably do a video, in relationship to PAX U as well, but I don't really know. PAX Unplugged is, it's a whole weird scene, especially board game tabletop media on that side of things. It's sort of like all the popular kids on, high school are getting together in their cliques, only it's like from, like, board game social media, like Facebook and Twitter and, like, the big name people. And so it's weird, because I'm never going to go one of those. I just, 3 kids, full-time job. No chance. But I'd love to, but can't justify that. Can't justify going to the local convention in town here. Anyway, that's all I got. Rambling completely over at the end. Boom. Boom. Too much rambling. If you made it this far. Probably most of you didn't. 90% of you will never listen to this part, so I'm completely okay with that too. So, stay classy. Have a great day. Have a great Saturday. By the time you're watching this, I'm watching 6 and 7-year-olds run around and play basketball. Let me tell you. Whew. The over-under on that is about, like, 3 baskets scored for both teams combined.